send a check to Trinity, I think, for $14. And then, we'll send a check to the
Okay, welcome to the Western Reserve Local Board meeting of November 14th, 2013.
Startups.
May I have roll call?
Mark Halls.
Present.
Richard Blevins.
Present.
Brian Benyo.
Present.
Melissa Potts. Present. Lisa Powell.
Present.
Have the pledge of the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll start with the treasurer's recommendations. It is recommended that the minutes of the October 10th, 2013 regular meeting of the Board of Education be approved as mailed to each member in advance of the meeting.
So moved.
Second. Mr. Benyo.
Yes.
Mr. Blevins.
Yes.
Mr. Halls.
Yes.
Mrs. Potts. Yes. Mrs. Powell.
Yes.
Motion carried. It is recommended that the October 2013 financial reports be approved and the October listing of bills be approved as mailed to each member in advance of the meeting.
So moved.
Second. Mr. Blevins.
Yes.
Mr. Halls.
Yes.
Mrs. Potts. Yes. Mrs. Powell.
Yes.
Mr. Benyo.
Yes.
It is recommended that the five-year forecast as mailed to each member in advance of the meeting be approved for fiscal years 2014 through 2018.
So moved. Second.
Mr. Halls.
Yes.
Mrs. Potts. Yes. Mrs. Powell.
Yes.
Mr. Benyo.
Yes.
Mr. Blevins.
Yes.
Carried. It is recommended that Farmers National Bank Deluxe Financial Services Incorporated be given permission to customize checks and debit cards with the Western Reserve school name and logo royalty-free. The checks and debit cards will be made available to customers through Farmers National Bank, and with each checking account open, Farmers Bank will donate $10 to Western Reserve local schools.
So moved.
I'll second that.
We have to decide, they did, I think is in your folder, they did just the Western Reserve. We can have the WR. I suggested that we don't put a double on there, or which double, or the double, but maybe.
We need to do.
Like the WR with the R in the middle.
We can put Mark's picture.
Like the traditional WR.
The WR.
We may not
get
like
too many
on all the
cards.
jerseys.
Yes.
I mean, if
Probably won't
we
get any
can
cards.
They can do whatever we get them. They just did that as a,
Good choice. I like that.
Now, do we do the white and the blue? Or do we put the red in there somewhere?
I like how Blue Devils is on here. Did you get two choices or just one?
Just one. I like what's on there too, but I know the WR is popular. So.
Yeah, and I think that would be more significant of us.
See, fancy.
I'm fine with working with Michelle said and whatever you guys decide. What you guys want to do.
It's fine.
Whatever the administration decides.
Yep, you guys can pick it.
The blue doubles rock.
Like that.
I was a little confused by the rock. Mr. Blevins, who seconded? Lisa. Mrs. Potts? Yes. Mrs. Powell?
Yes.
Mr. Benyo?
Yes.
Mr. Blevins?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes. Motion carried. It is recommended that the following resolution to adopt a 457B deferred compensation plan issued by the Variable Annuity Life Insurance Company and made available to all employees of Western Reserve Local Schools be approved. Whereas Western Reserve Schools hereinafter the employer established the 457B deferred compensation plan, hereinafter the plan effective January 2014 for the exclusive benefit of its employees and their beneficiaries. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the employer hereby amends and reinstates the plan in the form of a plan attached hereto and resolve further that the appropriate officers of the employer or their delegates are hereby authorized to execute the amendment and reinstate the plan effective January 2014.
Got it.
Yeah. So what, explain.
Year
This is
two.
a deferred compensation plan for employees
Are
to,
we-
a tax sheltered annuity.
Are we
Okay.
changing it, or it's the same?
What's
Are
that?
we changing it, or it's the same thing?
No, it's a different one that, between a 403B and a 457, there's opportunities to get money out earlier for emergency purposes without as much of a penalty. So they both have their pros and cons, and it's just another one that's going on. With no obligation.
Second.
You have a question? Oh, I'm sorry.
Mrs. Powell?
Yes.
Mr. Benyo?
Yes.
Mr. Blevins?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Mrs. Fox? Yes.
Motion carried.
Yeah, I wanted to read every word.
Superintendent's recommendations. It is recommended that the following resolution acknowledging the urgent necessity to make immediate correction of the electrical issues at the K-12 facility be approved.
Okay, on this is what we had with the, last month I talked about the electrical issues that we were having, looking at some surge protection, in having several conversations and talking with the Facilities Commission today and Hammond Construction, who is still part of, not closed out this project. We're going to look to get a second opinion as to, and this was the suggested changes to be made based on the architects and the electrical engineer and Tri-Area Electric, who did our electrical contracting for this building. We have, since January of this year, we've had about $7,000, and that was a misprint that we got from the attorneys actually on this original resolution. But about $7,000 worth of equipment that has been damaged that we felt is directly to power surges, power outages, that when we had the homecoming game and the power went out, we had a device in the electric panel in the high school office. Literally the magnet melted together and caused we had no power in the 3 science rooms. And so in looking at that, we're trying to get something that's going to protect all these blower motors that we have on all these air handling units, and some of the stuff is already in. So long story short, what I would recommend is that maybe we table this, get some more information. I have a conference call tomorrow with Bill Sherman from Hammond Construction and Dennis Kaplan from the Ohio School Facilities Commission, and look at bringing in another electrical engineering firm to look at what our electric issues are, because we're still unsure if it's
Right.
the power before it gets to our building or if it's the power once it gets to our building. And
That makes sense.
just good suggestions to consider looking at holding off on that. So I would suggest we just table this resolution. We may need to do this in the event that we find out what we need to do, and because we may be looking at costs in excess of $25,000, rather than going through that whole bid process, we have more power outages and more equipment failure, there would be some urgency once we know for sure and are comfortable with what we would like to do with that. So that's my suggestion on this resolution. Just table that if everybody's in agreement with that.
Sounds good.
And then I'll keep you updated on that as we get more information.
That's one of the
So
things,
moved.
I'll second it. What's that?
that's one of the things that we, Jeff and I, are meeting with these folks, and we're not sure if it's a brownout or if it's a surge or where it's happening. And Jim and I really couldn't tell us that, and that's why it's a good idea we bring in someone else. And Tri-Area helped us find the connectors, but from that stance, better off to look around a little bit.
Things have happened before that homecoming game.
And in a lot of cases, it's just losing one phase. And we have the generator, but sometimes the generator doesn't kick on to protect all those items. And it's frustrating because, like I said, a couple $1,000s for a
transformer here or a...
We shouldn't have a bank on the generator here. That's for
Exactly.
emergency. Yeah.
So I think it's a good idea to get somebody else to come in and take a look at the whole
I agree.
blueprints and the drawings, and it's part of still part of this project, so it's co-funded, there's still money available to, co-fund, and when I talked to Dennis Kaplan today from the school facilities, he even said that to bring in another consulting engineering service would be something they would consider co-funding and being a part of the process.
It's a safety issue too.
Yeah, exactly. I agree.
Table, yeah, we're gonna vote to table.
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Benyo?
Yes.
Mr. Blevins?
Yes.
Mr. Halls?
Yes.
Mrs. Potts? Yes. Mrs. Powell?
Yes.
It is recommended that the 2014 agreement between Western Reserve Local Schools and the Mahoning County Educational Service Center for services to students qualifying under the Bureau of Vocational Rehabilitation VRP3 project be approved.
So moved.
I'll second. Go ahead.
Mr. Blevins?
Yes.
Mr. Halls?
Yes.
Mrs. Potts? Yes. Mrs. Powell?
Yes.
Mr. Benyo?
Yes.
Carried. It is recommended that the resolution number 178-13, hiring Joseph Salmon Jr. as the 5th and 6th grade boys basketball coach for the 2013-14 school year be rescinded.
So moved.
Second. Mr. Halls?
Yes.
Mrs. Potts? Yes. Mrs. Powell?
Yes.
Mr. Benyo?
Yes.
Mr. Blevins?
Yes.
Carried. It is recommended that one contract for 5th and 6th grade boys-girls basketball coach be split, and that Joseph Salmon Jr. be hired as the 5th and 6th grade boys basketball coach, and Katie Sorensky be hired as the 5th and 6th grade girls basketball coach for the 2013-14 school year, as per the effective supplemental salary schedule.
So moved.
Second. Mrs. Potts? Yes. Mrs. Powell?
Yes.
Mr. Benyo?
Yes.
Mr. Blevins?
Yes.
Mr. Halls?
Yes. Carried. It is recommended that Gary Smith be hired as the assistant varsity football coach for the second half of the 2013-14 school year, as per the effective supplemental salary schedule.
So moved.
Second.
This was the one that we had the resignation and the timing of things. We didn't have all of his credentials in by the October meeting
Okay.
because of the timing. That's what it
And
was.
that really is how these guys is named, so it's...
It's not how
Really
it's-
is how
That's a
it's-
typo.
Oh.
Mrs. Powell?
Yes.
Mr. Benyo?
Yes.
Mr. Blevins?
Yes.
Mr. Halls?
Yes.
Mrs. Potts? Yes.
Carried. It is recommended that Thomas King be hired as the 7th grade boys basketball coach for the 2013-14 school year, as per the effective supplemental salary schedule.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Benyo?
Yes.
Mr. Blevins?
Yes.
Mr. Halls?
Yes.
Mrs. Potts? Yes. Mrs. Powell?
Yes.
It is recommended that Terry Kekic be added to the certified substitute list.
So moved.
Second. Mr. Blevins?
Yes.
Mr. Halls?
Yes.
Mrs. Potts? Yes. Mrs. Powell?
Yes.
Mr. Benyo?
Yes.
It is recommended that the old high school building be officially named the Reserve Building.
So moved.
Second.
I like that. It's my favorite one.
Mr. Halls?
Yes.
Mrs. Potts? Yes. Mrs. Powell?
Yes.
Mr. Benyo?
Yes.
Mr. Blevins?
Yes.
Carried. It is recommended that the Western Reserve Local School Safety Emergency Operations Plan developed by Deputy Tomeno be approved.
So moved.
Second. Mrs. Potts?
Yes.
Mrs. Powell?
Yes.
Mr. Benyo?
Yes.
Mr. Blevins?
Yes.
Mr. Halls?
Yes. Carried.
That's it.
It is recommended that Sean Gardner, Annie Huckmore, and Nora Jameson be approved as unpaid volunteer ski club advisors for the 2013-14 school year.
So moved.
Second.
These are the same that did it last year, and volunteered to do that. And we've got about 26 kids, I think she said, signed up for school clubs.
Wow.
Batman's grounded this year.
Oh, he's not on
Flipping
the
his
list?
wings.
Yeah, I noticed.
Mrs.
He's
Powell?
out.
Yes.
Mr. Benyo?
Yes.
Mr. Blevins?
Yes.
Mr. Halls?
Yes.
Mrs. Potts?
Yes.
Motion carried. It is recommended that Joseph M. Sorensky be hired as the head varsity softball coach for 2013-14 school year as per the effective supplemental salary schedule.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Benyo?
Yes.
Mr. Blevins?
Yes.
Mr. Halls?
Yes.
Mrs. Potts?
Yes.
Mrs. Powell?
Yes.
You know, we were really fortunate to have some quality people apply for the job. Mr. Was it Gardner? Is that his name from, what was his name from Lisbon? Chrisman, was the head coach, head girls softball coach at Lisbon, and Bill Amaro, who's head coach at Boardman, actually won a state championship while he coached at Boardman, coached at Howland and Louisville, and then Joe Sorensky. And, you know, we were fortunate to have quality people, and Joe did a great job when he was here, and left of his own decision because of a change in his work schedule at General Motors. And, you know, we kind of thought about it and said if he hadn't left on his own, he'd probably still be here coaching today because he was very successful. So we're fortunate to have him back, and he's got his same assistant, Tom Shugart, that he had, that we'll have for the next meeting to approve as an assistant that works with the pitchers. So kind of back where we were a few years ago. So we're pretty happy with that.
All right, going to the building principal reports. Ms. Farrelly. Huh? Ms. Farrelly's not here.
She's at the library meeting tonight with that literacy grant that she wrote in conjunction with the
okay.
library. They meet on Thursday nights, and she's missed some, and she told them she doesn't need to try to
Okay.
change something, but so she went to that one.
Mr. McGlynn.
She said she'd get us all caught up. She'd get everybody caught up next meeting, which means she'll talk
2 months instead of 1.
an hour, 100 miles an hour. A couple things we have going. We just finished our first round of OGT testing the last week of October, first week of November. That was for the students who did not pass last year as sophomores and juniors. We only had 11 kids total who have not passed, and that number hopefully will be diminished down to a couple by the spring testing when we test the sophomores this following March. Plan testing. The plan test is the pre-ACT test. That'll be next week, Tuesday afternoon for a period, and then Wednesday morning. It tests the kids in the reading, math, science, and social studies, and English. And what it does, it really sets it up. It's very similar to the ACT. It gives the kids an idea of where they may do on the ACT, and that plan score can go to colleges as well. And it's primarily for sophomores. Eventually, that test will be given to all sophomores through the state standardized testing program. That'll be next year, 14. Justine Knopf, we just finished the Blue Out Day today for diabetes awareness. Justine Knopf, one of our junior high young ladies, is very active in the Diabetes Foundation. This month is the National Diabetes Month, and today we had a Blue Out where kids wore blue to recognize diabetes as a disease in children primarily. That's what she's fighting for. So she does a lot with that. She got some pictures, and she'll be on the National Diabetes newspaper and website. So it was pretty good, pretty cool for her. The drama will be coming up next weekend. It right now is planned for Friday, Saturday, but I'm thinking it's going to be Friday, Sunday. After this week, we'll play next Saturday in a playoff game, so the play will hop. It's largely in Old Lace. Next Thursday, they will do a preview here for the kids, just a 15-minute preview for each level, elementary, middle school, and high school. So we'll do that next week to get the kids a little bit of practice before the curtain call on Friday. The 25th and 26th, we've talked about, Debbie and I have talked about all year on our content meetings and how we're bringing groups together in small groups, K1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The 25th and 26th, what we're doing is, in the morning of the 25th, we're bringing K-12 teachers all together. all the language arts teachers, so all the English language arts reading, will all be together that morning. We're going to work on some curriculum planning and content, and looking at the standards at each grade level and see what we need to do in kindergarten, first, second, third grade that will benefit as we move up. It's going to be quite an undertaking, but our staff is really excited about sitting down so that everyone can see, here's what I need in 5th grade. How can you provide that in 3rd and 4th grade or 9th grade? So language arts will be on Monday morning. Math will be in the afternoon. Tuesday will be science in the morning, and the afternoon will be social studies. So that'll be, right now we have, we've reached our max on subs. We're at 9 because we had to provide subs for half days for everybody, so we split the subs. Kathy's over there thinking 9 subs. But we're even using one of the gentlemen you just approved tonight, Kekik, because we are, when we look at 9 subs here, it's difficult to find that many people. But we're fortunate. We're using all of our tutors, and some of our student teachers are just going to take over their classroom because they've been here since September, and they're taking over now anyways. But the whole idea is to get everyone on the same page so that we can fill those gaps that we're seeing. And when you look at the value added and the achievement gaps, we're trying to close all those. Now, we've been talking to you a lot about that all year. And the county office will be in helping us, providing some expertise from Paula Roberts. She'll be helping us out, as well as Tim Flipovich on those 2 days. Kind of giving us a little guidance from that standpoint. And then we're going to provide lunch for them that day. Parent-teacher conferences will be the 26th from 3 to 9. And Joey is taking, Mrs. Zimmerman's taking calls at the high school starting next week for that. Schedule appointments, and Karen Dillon's doing that same thing at the elementary. And we held our first, my first junior high sports banquet here in the Reserve. We're taking bookings for parties. We're taking bookings for parties now. Mr. Martin Martig will cater. We'll have it all set up over there. But it was very, very nice. We had 172 people ended up coming to the banquet. So there's quite a few kids, quite a few parents, which was great. Started at 6:30 and we finished about 8:45. Had we not let Tim Hall speak, we probably would have finished about 8 o'clock, 8:10. Tim's going first next year, so he's not going last. Yeah, we learned. But it was a great thing for the kids, got certificates. It was like a pizza party for the parents. The families were all there, and it was good to see so many people active in the program. And that's all I have.
When we do our TBTs here, are they separate between secondary and primary?
Well, what we're doing now is we're going to further introduce the TBT format to them that day, the 2 days. We're using some of that now, the teacher-based teams, and what we're doing is we've taken them into small groups, and now we're going to spread them out and extend them all the way, and they have to take notes. Someone's going to have to take a role as far as what they're doing throughout the meetings, note-taking. Someone's going to have to comprise everything, but yeah, we're going to stretch it. We've done it in 3 grade levels each time, and now we're going to go K-12. So it's going to be a little different form, and believe me, some people are a little bit out of their comfort range because they don't like that. They don't like to always share their ideas, but some of them have really good ideas. And some things that we're doing in kindergarten, sometimes the way kids look at things doesn't change in 5th grade. Those things still work sometimes to get kids to do things. So, yeah, so that'll be a little more in-depth on those 2 days, and it'll be a little. It's gonna be a little out of their comfort range, some of them. But that's okay. It's good growth.
There's no tower OT. How about Jeff? Athletic.
Try to be quick. Everyone will go first over the financial thing. This is basically a quarterly report. I'll do one after each season has ended. Unfortunately, football has not ended, so some of the stuff from November this month, the Wellsville game and the the playoff game are inputted in here, but they haven't been taken out because we haven't closed out the month yet. So the report will vary a little bit, but the facility money is not on here as well. I can't remember what page number it is, but if you go to the facilities page, you'll see a big list of purchases and the total there. But some of that was taken out of the athletics, some of it was taken out of facilities account, some of it was taken out of weight room, so.
3X game pants, you really,
3X game pants
I think I
for a
can
very
guess.
big lineman. As well as the 3X shoulder pads.
got a little chuckle on that.
So, we're doing relatively well. Our gates have been pretty decent this year. Volleyball, they were pretty good as well. Had a better turnout. And we're hoping that continues through basketball season last year. Girls basketball is a little bit down, but the first page is where we're at now currently. And the second page, the back of page 1, is actually where we were at last year. So you can see our spending and our revenue for both last year and this year. And going forward, I'll try to give you year-to-year things so that you know. The official expenses are listed there, as well as the weight room account is also listed. So if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. Like I said, some things may vary a little bit from what Mary Jane, the treasurer, or the accounts payable lady has, but it's because she moves the funds from the facility account in different accounts. So it's what I have right now. I checked it according to the FinDebt report. The cross-country team finished their season. Ashley Rowley ran in the state track meet down in Columbus a couple weeks ago. She finished 31st as a freshman, 31st overall for her division, and she's actually one of the top freshman finishers in the race. So she did very well and displayed great achievement for the school. So we're going to do some stuff with her through the boosters. So they'll recognize her, and we'll recognize her at the banquet as well. The football game, like I said, the football team's still playing right now. They're in the playoffs. They play Saturday against Danville at Massillon Jackson. If anybody's interested in tickets, I have some here. I got a call today. Fox 8 News is going to be televising the game. I'm not sure if it's like when we play Cuyahoga Heights here, they're just going to fly their helicopter over. I'm not exactly sure, but they called and asked for a roster and starters. So to my knowledge, that means they're going to tape it and put it on tape delay, but I got to confirm that with the athletic director at Massillon Jackson. As of Monday, they weren't doing that. It will be on the radio again on Clear Channel. They're going to be there, and it'll be aired on the radio, so if you know anybody who can't make it, let them know. Scoreboard problems, anybody who attended the game realized we had some scoreboard issues. We got to call, I think it's Daktronics, to come out and take a look at it and find out what the real issues are, if it has anything to do with that power outage or not. It hasn't really worked right since then, so we tried everything we could during that playoff game to get it working. It's just that bottom section won't turn on, so.
So if it stays ground because of that power outage, what happens then? I mean, is that covered under any kind of
Well,
insurance?
the last time the wind blew it over,
Right.
the insurance covered the
Yes,
cost of
yeah.
it. So I'm sure if something happened to it in that case, then I would imagine that they would pay for it.
This is a damage in the control.
We have that, maybe I should come out and look at it and check the wire.
All right.
Basketball is up and running. Girls have obviously started. They actually traveled to Streetsboro this weekend. They're going to go up there and stay with the kids and the coaches. Got some fun activities planned for the weekend. They're going to scrimmage on Friday and then go somewhere else on Saturday, kind of a team building thing. So that'll be good for them. Kids are excited. Coaches are excited. Boys basketball, they've started their practices. Obviously, with the kids still participating in football, we're going to have to look at moving some of those games, and we'll make that decision on a week-to-week basis. Obviously, if we win Saturday, we'll move at least one of the games, and then so on and so forth thereafter, depending on how far they eventually make it. But that's usually determined on that Monday after a Saturday victory. So me and Patsy have been talking quite a bit about it, where we want to put games and so forth. We're going to try to avoid as many Saturdays as possible, but with Christmas and New Year's falling on a Wednesday, that means both those Tuesdays are out. So we have to wait and see where we're at there. Winter sports pitchers are November 20th here after school. I've talked to Michelle Sen and Sen Photography. We're going to do the middle school and the girls that day, and then whenever the boys finish, we'll give them time to make their cuts and so forth, and then we'll photograph them, and obviously we'll have a delay in the programs. I know the boosters currently are getting all that stuff set up, and that way they're ready right when the pictures are done, they can get them out to the people. The fall sports banquet will be December 8th at 2 o'clock, I believe. Pretty sure that's what it is, 2 o'clock, 1:30?
1:30.
1:30. Doors open at 1:30, but we'll probably start at 2?
Doors open at 1.
1,
Yeah.
okay. Start at 1:30.
1:30.
Okay, I gotta change it on my phone.
Two, you're gonna change it.
Just let me know if anybody's attending. You're all welcome to come. There's no charge for the board, obviously. So just give me a heads up and let me know.
You guys do invitations in your mailboxes. And anybody on the board if you want to go.
Yeah, so it's a good night. The kids really appreciate when people show up, so. And we gotta remember this year to take a microphone and a speaker, so the coaches aren't yelling. It's at Robbie Lee's in Newton Falls, so. All right? And I know they just remodeled, didn't they? So it'll be nice. I'm excited to get there and see what it
Christmas
is.
will be really nice.
So if anybody has any questions, just let me know on the financial thing.
Okay, thank you.
This is good, Jeff. It's very nice.
Excellent.
Yeah, no other comments about anything? All right, I need a motion to go into. Oh, you have something?
Yeah, just I'll go over some of these. Some of this is already covered on this one. We talked about the electric phase loss and item number 1. We do have a paper that the Sheriff's Department would like as part of that school safety plan, so we'll need all your signatures on that if we adopted that. Construction update, the roof is pretty much 99% complete on the reserve building. That's a 20-year warranty on that. They've anchored that down and just have a couple of other things that they're going to finish up with on that. Painting is all complete. Kreidler has to do a little bit of trim work on the canopies over the doors. Those big open areas in the front are going to have vertical siding, that tan color to accent that. And then the underneath, they're going to have a finished ceiling in there with some lights that are on dusted dawn lights to light it up. So I think overall it came out pretty well. Just as a note, and we'll have something better for you by January or so, but and I had mentioned this to some last time, I think. January to September of 2013, we've used 312,000 kilowatt hours less than at the same time last year of electric, which is about a $25,000 difference. So, I think getting somebody, and that's not the reason the lights were dark out front tonight, but the lights on timers and some of those things and getting those things tweaked, and I think it's going well. Be anxious to see the natural gas use with the geothermal and the heating and so on. So good news there. Item number 5, STEM initiative. We are really going to push the STEM, science, technology, math education, looking at middle school programs, looking at enhancing our high school program that we already have. Doug and I and Debbie have had some conversations. We're kind of waiting to see what happens with this straight A grant that we have applied for. If we have that, we'll really kick it off. If not, we're looking at possibly as soon as second semester, starting some middle school programs to get them more involved in collaborative thinking, 21st century skills, as opposed to just the old book and do things across the curriculum. So we'll keep you updated on that because we may move kind of quickly on some of that and initiate that. And a lot of that's going to be done in-house with stuff that we have and just purchasing some curriculum guides that some of the companies have out there. So pretty excited about that. We also, item number 6 you see there, we talked to Artie Spellman today, and we've talked about this last year even, the opportunity for us to purchase salt through Ellsworth Township at a bulk rate of about $30 a ton, and Doug was doing some figuring, and Last year, we've used about 8 to 10 ton, I think. And at a cost of about $2,500. No, how much? $2,500.
We were using bags.
Using it through bags. And at $30 a ton,
Oh, yeah.
10 tons, we'll be looking at potentially a normal winter saving a couple $1,000s. So we may look to purchase something to put on the back of our dump truck, so that when we go to Lordstown to pick up a couple ton of salt, we can just leave it on the truck, and that way we've got a salt spreader right on the dump truck that we can more expediently get our driveways and parking lots taken care of. So, be something we can recoup that cost right away with the purchase of the salt. So, we've got that on the burners. I gave you all what I was planning on using for the newsletter cover article. We talked about that and trying to answer some of those questions. Please feel free to give me anything that you think should be included. I was trying to kind of scrambling today to start doing that, and just kind of a summarize of what we have done with the reserve building, and finishing up here. And we still do have two parts of this project for this building, which is the electric that we talked about, and our retention pond out by the new parking lot there. Was supposed to be a dry pond that we're supposed to be able to maintain and mow, much like the one that's out front here. And if you've seen it, there's no way we can do that. So they've done we've got some drawings in place, and probably looking at spring now to get that work done. And again, that will be a co-funded project.
Why did I think it was not supposed to be a dry pond? I always thought it was supposed to be,
Somebody dropped the ball. I don't know if it was in the permitting or if it was in,
okay, because I was under the impression it was going to be like a lab, like a.
well, that's what I kept going back and telling them is that's why we put a fence around it. Why would we put a fence around it if it's going to be a dry pond 99% of the time, except
Right.
when you've had a storm? So
Okay.
somewhere along the line, between architects and designers and the commissioning, not me, wasn't me. Yeah, they're kind of all pointing different directions. So, but we are getting it fixed. It's again, it's a co-funded thing, and we're trying to get those things done while that money's still there to help, as opposed to, oh, here's what you got to do now. So, but like I say, feel free to, and I'm gonna probably submit that to Allison tomorrow afternoon. So if there's anything that that you see that you think I should include, or
Looks good, it looks like you encompassed everything.
I had mentioned, and what, I guess we just announced this, the December meeting at 6. Okay, so, yeah, I think it is. We'll do the December 12th board meeting starting at 6 p.m. that night, and then all and spouses are welcome to come to our house afterwards. There also, last time we met, there's been some discussion regarding the ITCL, the league, and at this point right now, there's some meetings going on amongst the ITCL to try and fix some of these concerns that some of the schools had. We've always been very happy with it. It's been great for us. My concern was if 6 or 7 of the small schools aren't happy and decide to pull out, where's that leave us? And that was my whole point of being interested in that. Doug and Jeff, we've all been to meetings. In fact, I think was it this week you were at a meeting. They're looking at doing something more on a regional, which would be good, and maybe not, especially with junior high not needing to travel to Southern or Wellsville, and looking at keeping some of these more local rivalries within our conference: Mineral Ridge, Jackson Milton, Lowellville, McDonald, and so I think it's something that has been discussed as a concern for several years now. And everybody is open, from the biggest schools to the smallest schools, open to looking to make it work as it is, with a little bit of refinement. So we'll keep you updated on that as well.
One of the thoughts is to expand and look at going to 3 divisions geographically, and to get out of the mindset of size making a difference, because geographically we have better, as Jeff said, we have better rivalries with the people that we play geographically, more so, even though we do have a good rivalry with Wellsville, but in 1 week we travel down there 5 times for junior high volleyball. It's a lot. It's a lot of travel for those kids. So looking at, Monday's our first meeting with the group, and then they'll meet with the superintendents again that day. just to look at. One of the things that we're bringing in is that AAC, the All-American Conference expansion idea of what they're doing, what they looked at. We're going to look at similar things. Donnie Mook at Columbiana and Dennis Dunham are kind of heading that up with the idea that to try and fix things before things go really bad.
And that's the thing, that the way the IT cell was set up was it was based on student enrollment. And there's about 4 schools that are within about 10 kids. And those are the ones that fluctuate. In 1 year, Mineral Ridge is up, and the next year, or next two years, every 2 years they realign. 2 years later, they've dropped by 5 kids, and somebody else came up 3, and that's those schools right on that bubble, Lisbon, Jackson, Milton, Mineral Ridge, that sometimes they're up, sometimes they're down. It's hard scheduling because, we're looking at schedules 2 and 3 years down the road, and now all of a sudden, okay, you got to move this one around. So it's some issues that I think are going to be resolved, and I think we'll be in good shape. Just to update you on that.
Could I have a motion to go into executive session?
So moved.
I just want to mention one thing. I don't know if you guys saw the paper this week, but we lost a graduate, 2003, Christopher Page. He had a remarkable military record and was actually on his way back he's been on 29 secret missions around the world, 2 tours in Iraq. He's 28 years old, and a truck hit him.
He was in the Coast Guard.
He was in the Coast Guard.
Good kid.
Graduated in
Loved-
2003. Just a great guy.
Lived in Florida. He was living in Florida. That's where he was stationed. with the
His
Coast Guard.
obituary was in the paper yesterday. Just thought I'd mention it.
Yeah.
So motion to go into executive session?
I so moved it.
We'll put the chairs back before we go in.
Mr. Benyon?
Yes.
Mr. Blevins? Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Mrs. Potts?
Yes.
Mrs. Powell?
What's the update on this one?